All right, we'll try it on. Let's get her unboxed. Do this all one hand, it's gonna be difficult. Dig right on in. Don't need that. Oh. Oh. Let's have a look at that, huh? All right. So we got our body. It's like the fifth wheel, back fenders, drivetrain components, motor plate, upper chassis mount, some other random bits, parts trees of random bits. Looks like some differential stuff, more bumpers. All right, look at this. Nice. There's all the good bits. Zip ties. We'll dig into it a little later. Just have a look at those bad boys. That tread pattern, it's awesome. Super soft. No foams come with these guys, so they'll be real soft. That new tire smell. And a good old bathtub chassis. That little guy? Don't worry about that little guy. Oh yeah. We're gonna definitely need that long antenna tube with my current technology. All right, some instructions, decals, the rest of the good bits. All right, so here's all the parts laid on the table. We got the body here, 3-piece body. Got all of our parts trees laid out, our bathtub chassis. Beautiful stack of tires, speed control, motor, all our gears, body mounts. Now, it came with plastic and copper bushings, but I opted to buy the bearing kit just because I want it to last a little longer and run a little smoother. They're not too bad, 15 bucks for those bad boys. Pick them up on eBay or multiple different sites. So I wanted to go over this part right here. I'm not sure if everybody else struggled with it like I did, but for some reason I thought you had to put the bearing on first, which would be this back one that goes on the gear itself, but there's that little pin that goes in the shaft. So you usually have to set the gear in first in that little spot right there, and then start assembling it. And keeping the shaft from falling out while you're putting it in there is not easy at all. So just have some patience, take your time, and if you get frustrated like I did, take a breather, start over again. I just wanted to share that quick information. All right, so I just wanted to go over real quick what's been done. We did step 1, 2, and 3. Real easy, this step. There's really nothing to explain. We did step 4 as well. little itty bitty screws in there stuck. So basically, the rear end is complete. We're going to move to the front end, which is essentially mirrored. It's the same. We're going to go through the same parts. The only thing that's different is going to be suspension arms. We have these little pivot balls that go inside of here. There's the directions there. They say to grease them up. I'm going to grease them up later, not now, because it's going to make it difficult to put in. And they actually press in, and they're not easy to press in. You just line them up. And what I've been doing, take and put it on my bench here, set the pivot inside the cup, take the blunt end of my screwdriver, press it in like so, and there we go. Like I say, later on when I get this thing more complete, I'll grease it then. I'm finding the grease is making everything extremely slippery and hard to work on. So I got the front end pretty much assembled. We're on to the friction shocks. I actually have an HPI RS4. I'm gonna see if the shock size is roughly the same, and then I'll just go ahead and put these springs on it since they're softer, because I know the RS4 has stiff springs. But anyhow, like I say, front end is assembled for the most part. We'll have to get the steering setup done here pretty soon, but I'm gonna go double check on those shocks real quick. All right, so here's my RS4. It's in a bit of disarray. So I'm gonna see if these shocks will fit on there. And they look like they're roughly about the same size. So anyway, there she is. All right, so there we go. I switched over the springs on the shocks. This will be a lot better than the friction mount ones. A little update. Front end is all together, steering's all together. I'm getting the upper chassis put on. Next we're going to go ahead and do the motor plate and start installing electronics. I just used my Traxxas XL5 just to get everything rolling, make sure everything was good in the suspension, make sure everything was good in the drivetrain. Did have to tear the front end back apart and take one spacer out of the differential. It was a little too tight. The mesh was making really bad noise because of the mesh being too tight. Anyway, so that was done off camera. Anyhow, so I have to take the ESC it came with and put a Dean's plug on there because that's what I run, is Dean style plugs. So I'm going to have to solder that on, and then we'll get everything set up and go from there.